Yay, yay. Hello, and welcome to this week Training Tuesday Live with our first official guest of the year. We're so pumped for today. Yeah, because we have a very special guest to introduce to you here in just a moment. But if we've not met before, hello, my name is Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System. I'm my awesome co-host. He's Mike Gingerich. He's the president of Digital Hill and the co-founder of the popular apps Waftio, Tabsite, published author extraordinaire. And super pumped today, Mike, as we dig in to what if more and being more is about really being more, not doing more.
Yes.
I love that saying. And that saying is all about the morning shift that you can do and to take place. And I had an opportunity to talk with our special guest, Tiffany, which I'd love for you to introduce her. She has a really amazing thought process on this. So I can't wait for all of us to dive into it today. But as we start doing this and Mike introduce our special guest, please let us know where you're tuning in from today. We'd love to give you a shout out.
Yes. Definitely comment below and let us know where you're coming in from. Thrilled to introduce Tiffany Lainer to us today. She's a leading voice in the personal growth, conscious leadership, and meaningful work space. She's an inspirational keynote speaker. I've heard a number of times at Social Media Week Lyman. She's coming back again. She's a clarity strategist and founder of The Morning Shift Co., which is what we're going to be focusing on today. Personal growth and well-being company dedicated to helping us intentionally hold space to enhance the way we live, lead, and work. Tiffany's got an eclectic, tremendous background of experience, made her a sought-after public speaker, trainer, facilitator. She's presented for top businesses, brands, universities, including Capital One, United Way, and TEDx. So welcome, Tiffany.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're thrilled to have you. And, I think I was just spending a little time on your website this afternoon as well. And I think that, it's exciting what you're doing, exciting the space you moved into. And I want to kind of start with this quote, if I can. It says, on your website, you say, hustle culture and the glorification of busyness and our desire to distract from who we really are and what we're growing through is taking up too much space, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. That's a power-packed statement. I'd love to have you unpack that a little bit.
Yeah. Let's start with hustle culture. I think many of us are very well fluid in hustle culture, especially as business owners, as marketers, as individuals who are trying to constantly put ourselves out there. We have so much to do. It's never ending. Our to-do lists are literally never ending. They usually carry over into the next day, into the next week, and it just feels like this laundry list, like this scroll that never ends. And I think so many of us can agree that eventually we get burned out, and probably more often than we like to admit or that we like to share with others. So we're finding ourselves feeling burned out. I call it either bugging out or burning out. And it's this idea that either you feel like you're going crazy and you're questioning, how come everyone else has it together? How come they're doing the absolute most and how come I'm not?
But their Instagram looks perfect.
Right? Everything looks so great, but everyone's secretly bugging out and burning out on the back end. And we're all trying to keep up with the hustle culture facade of go, 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 keep going, because that's all we know. And that's what's really praised, right? We have this sense of being praised for doing the absolute most. And I was reading this quote yesterday that someone wrote, and it was saying that the way that our society is built, probably focusing on hustle culture, that basically because we're always on the go, we view rest as being like an inconvenience. So it is an inconvenience to us to actually rest. It's an inconvenience to, people who depend on us or clients or people who want something from us for us to take a break and for us to rest. And so when I talk about this constantly being involved and surrounded with hustle culture, the go culture, and not taking a break, it is literally taking up all of our space. It's taking up our time, our attention. It financially impacts us because what happens when we get burned out or we start bugging out, we have to spend money to, not only just take vacations, which we all deserve and need, but we get sick. And we have to then spend money on doctors, and then we have to spend money on drugs and things to keep us constantly going. So this idea that we can continue to push and grind ourselves into the ground needs to be dispelled, and we need to come up with new remedies in order to really help us mentally, emotionally,
amen to that.
everything else.
Please read that. But no, this is why we wanted to bring this topic on here today, because to kick the year off, right? Because this has a lot to do with business, right? We're thinking, okay, it's a new year. We're setting new goals, new intentions for the year. And it's always to level up. And you hit the nail on the head when you talk about glorifying the hustle and the busy, right? It's the more busy you are, the more important you must be. And that you're right. The person that's resting or taking a break, well, I'm just going to work harder. And that's how I get ahead. And granted, hard work is great. But I love the way that you talk about not just being and doing more, but being more in the moment. So you talk about this morning shift. And I know we're going to unpack this a little bit here today, but I would love to hear your story and kind of how you found out from firsthand experience, right? What this took for you as a business, owner, and you working in business, how the shift happened for you first.
Yeah. So, I guess I started my first business in 2012. So almost 8 years ago. And it was a digital marketing company. And obviously all of us have been in that digital space. And I mean, doing done for you services it's a lot. And I found myself constantly being burned out, taking on all these clients, trying to do all their, all their stuff. And I pivoted out of doing done for you marketing services around 2012 and really started focusing on coaching and teaching. But around the same time that I kind of pivoted in that direction with my business, I became pregnant that year. And so that was a little unexpected. And my pregnancy was really complicated. Long story short, I was given kind of a deadline, if you will, that I was going to lose my child at 24 weeks of pregnancy, and that I could possibly lose my life in the process if I went into early labor. And so a lot of this was coming up as I was continuing to build and grow my business, which is always the interesting
part.
Stress
on stress.
Right? Life doesn't stop because you're I just started this phase of what I'm doing. I don't have time to deal with this. Also, but that was the beginning of me actually. During that time, I was put on bed rest, and I realized that me continuing, I had to literally slow down in order to save my unborn child's life, because I couldn't do what I was doing before, which was running around with my head cut off and trying to hit all the meetings and do things online and do things offline. And I was just all over the place. Even though I was pregnant, I was still speaking. I was doing all the things. And at that time, I literally could not do anymore. And I had to slow it all the way down and get really productive in a short period of time, because the rest of the time I really needed to rest to give myself a fair and a fighting chance to, save my daughter's life. And fortunately, I did get over that hump. And we made it through, and I had my daughter, as many of you probably see online, at 37 weeks. She's now almost 5 years old, which is crazy. She's my
gorgeous
baby.
That's beautiful.
And this was the spark for me, because, even though I realized that lesson, as soon as I was back to being able to go, I did. And it took about 6 months after having my daughter when I started experiencing postpartum depression. And it was in this kind of cloudy chaos that I didn't even know I was experiencing at the time, but I was very confused about literally everything, about how I was running my business, what I wanted to talk about, who I wanted to be, the identity that I wasn't used to, which was being a mom. I was just so disconnected from literally everything in my life. And at that particular time, I was live streaming every day. And actually my live streams were called the morning shift. So that's actually where like the name came from, because I would jump on Periscope days. And I started showing up every single day at that particular time, but I served as a source of inspiration and motivation and trying to show face. But in behind the scenes, I was like crying in the corner and wondering, like, who am I to be an inspiration or motivation to anyone? Who am I to be a clarity strategist and a coach when I feel so unclear? And I had such imposter syndrome and questioning just my overall existence. And it took a mentor of mine some months later. So I had been in this for a couple of months, and she's like, what the hell do you do in the morning? And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, what does that have to do with anything that I'm currently experiencing? And I just feel so out of whack, and I don't know what's going on.
It all blends together at this point.
Yeah, like I just don't know if I'm coming or going. And she's like, Tiffany, like, think about it. Like, just think about it. You've gone through a lot, like just in the last year and a half, right? Like you've been an entrepreneur, you started like a new phase of your company, you got pregnant, you went through complications, you have a newborn, and now you're experiencing all these like hormonal things that's happening. Have you ever like slowed down enough to think about all that you've really experienced, and are you creating space to like unpack all of that stuff? And
wow,
I'm
like before you even share this morning thing, I just want to like pause it for 1 second.
Yes,
because you just said a lot that I think every one of us that are listening can resonate with on some level. Like you mentioned this at the very beginning where you said like we're either bugging out or burning out, and where our bodies are trying to tell us something, and usually we don't stop long enough to listen, even until we're forced with like your body's like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to bedridden you, or, like we have similar stories, by the way. And then you pause enough to where first you're going crazy and you're still like, okay, now your mind's not bedridden, but the rest of you is, right? So it goes crazy. And then you're bugging out, right? Instead of burning out. And then you mentioned again, like you started hitting the ground running right after that. And then you're dealing with this postpartum depression, but you still kept feeling this need to show up every morning and do this live video, right? Like, so how many of you that are watching this, I would love to hear, like, can you resonate with this? Let's give some hearts to Tiffany. And like, if you, or, comments, if you can resonate with this, like, has your body tried to tell you something before when you've just tried to keep pushing harder and stronger and think like, if I can just do this next thing, then this will go away, right? Like it's so often we're just forced to where we just like ignore some of these other signs and just keep showing up, right? Like that's the hustle culture, as you said, just hustle your way through.
It's never ending because we're always going through transitions. Like our lives are constantly moving into the next phase of whatever it is. And we do believe like after this next thing, I'm going to have it all together. I'm going to like completely have it together. And it's just never going to be the together that we've created in our mind. And so what I've created and what I even learned talking to my mentor, what was necessary for me was just to own where I was at that particular time and create the space that is necessary to support where I am and where I was trying to go next. And always being able to craft that time in that space to support what I need, no matter what. And so when she, kind of abruptly was like, what the hell do you do in the morning? And that just kind of went over my head because I didn't understand how it was correlated. Her intention was you need to create this space. And the best time to do it, obviously, we all know morning routines. It's everywhere. You can Google it. You can YouTube it. Everyone has an opinion on the best kind of morning routine. The most successful people have morning routines, all that jazz. And so, she's like, it really is for you to be supported so that you move forward throughout the rest of your day. And at that time, my daughter wasn't sleeping through the night. So I'm already like sleep deprived. I'm not getting very much sleep. I wake up and hit the ground running. I got calls to make. I have videos to shoot. I got courses to create. It's just so many things happen. So by 12 o'clock or 12 p.m., I'm already burned out, probably bugging out. I need a nap. Don't have time, don't have time for it. And it was then when she was like, I really want you to focus on meditating and like creating that space and gratitude and all the things that we hear that have kind of become a little generic because we hear it so much. And so I listened to her though, tried to meditate because years I had been trying and I'm like, my brain just goes too fast. Like I never actually feel like I'm doing anything that's special. But I really took her advice. We did this thing called like a blood meditation, which is not some crazy ritual. So everyone chill. It really is just getting so connected in your body that you are trying to like literally hear the blood flowing through your veins. Like that is what even though you can't, but you're trying to like connect to that. And you get so hyper focused on it, you can't really focus on anything else. But I started doing that and doing the gratitude. And I did feel like a shift happen in like just a matter of weeks. And as a coach, I'm like, there's more for me to do here. There's more for me to create. And I really started asking myself the questions that I probably asked my clients, like, what is it that I needed in that moment? What was my vision for growth moving forward? And what were the things that I could do to support exactly where I was for that particular period of time for me, so that I can continue to go and expand?
I think, I'm listening, I'm soaking it in, and, kind of reflecting back to you. What stands out to me, it's like the words, like there's the word stop, there's the word, in the moment, there's what do I need now? For me, I think that's key to what I'm hearing, versus the hustle mentality. And you kind of mentioned it's like, when I get done with this, so that's kind of like a future mentality. If out there, when I get past that, then I'll have a breather, which never happens because the next thing comes. But what I'm hearing now, what you're sharing with me is, I'm just hearing words that talk about the importance of what do I need now, and you're saying that, and yeah, the present, and you're saying that's first thing in the morning, I need to begin reflecting on that.
Yes, ultimately, it's even before, because what I don't want people to go do, okay, like, what do I need now? Like, there is some questions that we need to ask ourselves. One is, what do I need now? I think that's so potent. But really analyzing the season in which you're in, right? So as I mentioned, you can Google or read books on it. There's tons of things on creating a morning routine. And so what we do is we start drinking our lemon water and we like pick up a book for 30 minutes and then we're like meditating kind of. And like we do all the things that everyone tells us to do. And then we wonder why it's not hitting. Like, why is it not really resonating? Because we're literally trying to tackle somebody else's creation, someone else's to-do list. And so even though those could be activities and things that you may do within your own personal morning shift, what I like to share and what I teach to my students and my members is really doing a deeper dive into what do I need? What do I crave? What am I missing? What am I wanting to experience? What is it that I'm wanting to feel? What is it that I need to learn, right? So the morning shift is the morning shift method is 5 pillars. And so one is mindset, motivation, meditation, movement, and mastery. So it's within these 5 pillars that we create activities to help you kind of fill that container, no matter what space you're in, and as you continue to learn, evolve, and grow.
Got it. You need to go into one more time for me, though.
Yeah.
Motivation.
Mindset, motivation, meditation, movement, and mastery.
Yeah.
I love it. My arms are too short to type all the way to my keyboard to put them in there, but I will go back to it and put it in there. But I loved another thing that you said, and the whole premise of starting in the morning. Because some people, like, our brains are like, okay, I'm going to do that later, right? Like, our stuff is always later. But I think if you do start that in the morning, one thing, even when I did this with myself, like trying to heal my body, similar story to yours, right? And what I love about what you're saying, though, is like making my own routine versus trying to copy someone else's, because I feel like that is the difference, right? Like that is a big thing that I think could really help myself and a lot of people. But doing it in the morning, it's like you have power to say, I am in control of my life, and like you are giving yourself permission. So not only do I feel like it is helping you, but I feel like it's probably empowering as well, like to pause everything else and like just say, this is my time and I'm going to focus on me first. And you said within a couple weeks, like this was a big shift for you. Like,
Huge. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the amount of clarity that I feel like I received initially and I continue to receive, like whenever I get like into my head and out of my body or into the world and completely out of myself, I always say that I have to take it to the floor, like literally either to meditate or just to bring myself all the way back in, because we let all of these external factors completely take over who we are here to be, and determine who we're here to become versus it being the other way around. And so a part of doing it in the morning, there's a couple of reasons why the morning is so potent. From a biological perspective, we actually retain way more information in the morning when we are fresh and we have just woke up from sleeping for X amount of hours. And so doing it later when we're like already exhausted and tired, and we might not retain the way that we want to actually feel, as well as any information that we're trying to, if we're reading something or doing any of those things. So it's also just depends on who you are. I'm never going to say, don't do it in the evening. Like if you're going to create a practice. I'm totally for it. Obviously the mornings does a couple of things. So one from a biological standpoint, but also from how I view it is that we are creating a space for us to fill our own cups so that we're capable of pouring into the cups of everyone else. I believe that by taking care of myself, I have the capacity to be a better mom. I have the capacity to be a better entrepreneur, a better strategist, a better coach. I have the capacity to be a better friend, literally because I was able to do that check-in with myself and give myself the space for the thinking and the allowing and the healing and the discovering and all of these things, so that when I show up in other people's lives, I am fully present and I am there to be the powerful force that I want to be, right? So that it's very intentional. But when we are lacking that ability to show up for ourselves, and we wonder why we're not showing up for others the way that we intend to or the way that we want to, well, ding, 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 that is the reason, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. We can try, and we can continue to try, but it's somewhere along the line, it's going to bite us back, at some point, either in health or snapping on others, or like not doing, or not showing up the way that we really want to show up. And so there's a couple of ways for us to think about the importance.
I think people can feel that too. Like when you get around someone and you can tell, like you feel it, like you can feel completely if somebody is like chill, like they just feel good. Right. Like, and so I love that.
Owning your shift.
Yeah.
Like, own your shift. Okay. Like own your stuff so that you don't put that stuff on others. When I'm giving talks, a lot of the time within my keynotes, I'm always talking about owning your shift, owning your energy, like owning that shift, space, people. Your shift. I like literally everything has shift in it. Like on my personal website, it says shifts about to go down. Like I use it to the fullest. Okay. But it's because I intend to cause transformation, and that is shifting. And so everything that I do personally, everything that I talk about is this ability for us to shift into the next phase of who we are here to become. But owning and allowing for everything that we are today. It's not about trying to get rid of the pain, the sorrow, the past, the things that we're carrying that may be heavy, but it's learning how to transmute those things into creating some level of positive change for ourselves, or taking and distracting the lessons that are so necessary for us to grow through, right? Like it's not about going through things, it's about growing through them. And so if we can utilize all of that to actually show up as the next best version of ourselves, I firmly believe that we can have a bigger impact, not only in our lives or on our business, but like humanity and the planet. Like there's just this huge ripple effect that we're able to contribute. And so for me, the morning shift, morning routines, all of it, it's so much more than just your routine. It has the ability to quite literally change the world.
Yeah. And I bought that on a t-shirt, by the way. It's like, I think you need t-shirts, like own your shifts, like shift's about to go down.
I have a few, so they're on my website.
I love it. You are like an epic t-shirt giver, by the way. She got me a t-shirt It's over here, but it was like, I am my guru. I was like, this is the only time I'm going to wear a shirt that says guru on it because it's like epic. So I'll have to show that.
I am my guru. That's what's important. It's that understanding that we have the ability to show up for ourselves and we don't have to gurutize other individuals. Like we literally have all of that within us.
Excellent. Awesome. Now, I know that, I mean, you've got a lot of things with this. You got a master class, you got a lot of things working around this. And, maybe you can talk a little bit about that. And as we, have 5 minutes here, so I'm kind of curious if someone's here and they want to take a first step, they're saying, yes. I mean, Trey was here. He said, needed this, so, what should we say to Trey right now? Like in that, first things to think about.
I think the first step, yes, you can always come do any of the things that I offer, which would be amazing, great. But the first step is to do that check-in with yourself, right? Especially if you have a routine already that you're trying to cultivate, is instead of me trying to Google everyone else's everything, what is it that I really need for this season of my life? And am I doing the activities and creating the space to support what I need right now so that I can actually achieve my goals, and not just work goals and not just professional goals, but like mental goals, emotional goals, physical goals. Like, how am I showing up for myself 360? And what would that look like for me to have something that I can do every single day that gets me closer to reaching those goals?
I love that. I love that. And
Yes,
I love that you said this too, like that your body's going to tell you, like, if you take time to be like quiet with yourself, you'll notice like the aches and pains. That's all your body trying to tell you something, honestly. By the way, I have to show off this shirt now that I went and grabbed it. Because we've been doing yoga in the office. So this is my t-shirt for the office yoga.
Yes, and all of my members got a t-shirt this year. So I'm like, my goal is to like have just everyone walking around with that shirt.
Love
eventually.
It. And I know.
Yes,
sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead. I don't know what I was going to say now. So go ahead.
Oh no. Well, I said I know we don't have many more minutes with you, so I want to like leave it with one, like what you want people to walk away with. I know like the first step to getting started, and then also like where people can connect with you too, because I am so excited, by the way, to have you back at Social Media Week Live on 20, where we're going to be doing an epic morning shift with everyone there, and as well as a few surprises that we have in store with Tiffany there. So it's going to be a different kind of way that you're showing up and your highest truth. I feel like this is like what you are meant to do, which is awesome. So I'm super excited to have you there and just have everyone participate in it together. But like what do you want people to walk away with today as they're starting maybe they've already set their 2020 goals and they're really kind of full steam ahead, maybe still carrying some stuff from last year. What would you like to say to them? And then where can they find you?
Yes, I would like to say, like I've said it several times, it's really the check-in is important, like deciding, getting clear. I mean, clarity has always been my jam. Like that is my jam on jam. So helping you better understand who you are, what you do, why you do it, why it matters, and how does that have the ripple effect that you desire, right? And when I like started to like really peel back the layers of the work that I was doing, which is why I turned the morning shift into a company, is because everything I kept referring to, let's create the morning for you. And after I've given the 100th talk about it and like helped the next person, I'm like, I think this is just might be it. Like all the things that I love and all the things that I do can really just come down to creating this practice. And so I'm just going to go full-fledged with it. And so I would love for you to learn more about the morning shift at morningshift.co. I have a course on the morning shift. So it is the course that actually helps you craft your morning routine, your morning practice that is unique to you, your vision, and how you want to grow. So it is going to ask you those questions that I kind of alluded to throughout our time here, so that you can have the clarity that is necessary. Oh, it's the morning shift. So make sure you find that with the. But it helps you do that so that you are creating that practice. And then if you wanted to do more, because I actually built this course 2 years ago. And what I was finding is that like everything else, people didn't have the accountability. And so they would do it for a little while, and then the accountability wasn't there. And so this past fall, I launched the Morning Shift Mastermind, which is a monthly membership where I actually do your practice with you in community every single Monday. And so when you're a part of this membership, you join me every Monday at 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as of right now. And you do your practice in community, which has been absolutely amazing. I was doing sessions like that here locally at my co-working space, both for my co-workers in the space and open to the community. And what I found is how awesome to do your practice with others around, where you can actually have conversations. We all know the importance of showing up live and having like-minded individuals be there on your journey. And so I decided to create that also on a digital manner. And so that is the Morning Shift Mastermind, and then a retreat that is launching actually next week. So you guys are the first to know. But it's going to be this fall. And so there's several ways that you can interact with the Morning Shift depending on what you want, what you need, and how you want to be supported. And then, of course, Social Media Week Lima.
Yes.
That way too is how it's going down.
Yes. And if you do want to know more about Social Media Week Lima, it's sociallima.com. Tickets are still on sale, early bird on sale for just like 2 more weeks. So you may want to get on that.
And you should come. It's like
see
one
those
of my
two.
favorite events. Seriously, I'm not just saying that because I'm speaking there and I've spoken there the last couple of years. I'm saying that legit because it is so much fun and everyone is amazing, from the speakers to the attendees. It's like a really big family reunion and I love it.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, and both Mike and Tiffany will be there this next year, or this year. Jeez, like it's
20.
Time is going so fast, but yeah, I know. Like we're looking at social media marketing around them, like the countdown. I was like, stop it. What? It's only, like a little bit away. But yeah, so sociallima.com. You can find out more about the event in June 17th, 18th this year. If you'd like to see Tiffany, check her out at themorningshift.co. Super excited about your event, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and just your grace with us today. I always just love hanging out with you. I just feel like this piece, yes, this is what it's about. It's not all this hustle. It's about just owning your space, owning your shift.
Owning your shift, man. No.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. It was
Thank you for being with us. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining in with us today on Magnet Marketers. We're here every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our goal to help you become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Let us know what you thought of the show. Also, who would you like to see on a future episode? We'd love to hear your feedback and comments, and look forward to catching you next week. See ya.
All right. Take care.